I sense a faint bit of skepticism in your voice, Jericho. We haven't
I'm
even
skeptical. It's just like, is there anything that he's made that has been helpful or that I would know about?
we haven't even gone into his claims and what he's talking about,
Are
man.
you
I feel
saying
like
he's the second coming of George Washington Carver? Is that what you're saying? Are you telling me this man, him? It's hard out here for a pimp. Him? Okay, sure.
What's up, everybody? I'm Zap, and this is Jericho, and we are the now six-time international award-winning pop hip-hop music duo band and future. We do clean, fun music that everyone can listen to with a sound that's uniquely Californian. And right now, you're tuned into the Life's a Circus podcast, where we talk about everything that's funny, interesting, and ridiculous. Before we jump into today's episode, though, do us a huge favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with somebody that you got beef with, somebody you don't like, maybe somebody that's all up in your grill and making you feel the type of way about the day. Oh, bars. Okay, so look.
Somebody that put a hitch in your giddy up. Is that a phrase people say still?
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, you got it. So
I don't think I got it.
I've been waiting to talk about this. All right. So the big thing on the internet has been Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. By the way, I think it's fake. Okay. Just because I've been doing this too long. I'm doing music too long. I've been doing Hollywood too long. I've been doing marketing too long. There's all of a sudden this big beef. And oh, wow, millions of streams are happening. Wow. What a coincidence. Anyway, I digress.
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you, Jericho, that the Kendrick Lamar Drake is not the biggest beef on the internet?
I would believe you.
Let me rephrase the question. What
Okay, go for it.
You are probably right. What if I told you that there was there was a better beef that I don't think has ever happened before?
Better beef. Sounds like an Arby's commercial. Okay. I'd be curious to know what that would be then. Hopefully it's between... Never mind. Okay, go for it.
Okay. Let me before I'm gonna get to it. One last thing. Jericho. And this just straight up answer. All right. You don't have to add anything or make it complicated.
Okay.
Jericho. What is 1 times 1?
It's 1.
Do what?
It's 1.
No, it's 2, son. It's 2. All right. 1 times 1 is 2. According to Terrence Howard. That's right. Terrence Howard is rewriting.
I know what you're talking about. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. All right. He went on for a long time about this. He thought about this.
Wait a minute.
What was his explanation? Like you can't time something by something to get the same something, right? That was his argument.
1 is 2, son. I'm gonna make a shirt. 1 times 1 is 2. Team Terrence, what's up?
I don't think he's had work in a while, man. He's just trying to be relevant. Like, seriously, that's crazy. But go for it. I mean, I guess math needs innovation. Let's just start that. Birds aren't real, and 1 times 1 is 2. Whatever. What revelatory information do you have about this gentleman and his theory?
So for people who don't know, Terrence Howard recently went on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I guess I kind of realized, but I kind of didn't, that his thing goes for like 2 and 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, we talked for 15 minutes, and it's hard, man. It's hard.
But they have a lot to talk about. And then, of course, the people that has on the usually have had a lot of things they've done, so there's a lot to explore.
Yeah. And I only, when I watch it, I only see clips of it that people made. So I'm thinking, oh, that was the podcast, and it just, then I see the whole thing, and it's like 3 hours. I'm like, who
watches the whole thing?
Yeah,
watch a 3-hour podcast, but
that's intense. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Terrence Howard went on there, and it gave me Cat Williams vibes, like that level of like, well, this just came out of left field. It's just like shocking. But he was talking about things, uh, complex theories, scientific thoughts, things about the nature and universe, matter and energy, mathematics, and just like all this stuff that has nothing to do with acting. And there was a lot of I definitely didn't watch the whole thing, so don't use this as a video to like sum up everything. But I didn't know that he was even into all this stuff.
Seems like
So
a smart guy.
yeah, but I mean, there's smart, and then there's like talking about the theory of relativity smart. Like that's just
He's like
like
Jaylen Brown smart.
rewriting mathematical equations, and I'm just like, all right, cool.
We got to have a couple black geniuses, him and Jaylen Brown and Kanye. Well,
anyway, hashtag too soon. So Howard holds 97 patents. Do you know that?
no, that sounds like something that he would tell people at a party.
I sense a faint bit of skepticism in your voice, Jericho. We haven't even
skeptical. It's just like, is there anything that he's made that has been helpful or that I would know about?
We haven't even gone into his claims and what he's talking about, man.
Are you saying he's the second coming of George Washington Carver? Is that what you're saying? Are you telling this man, him? It's hard out here for a pimp. Him? Okay, sure.
97.
I didn't know that about him. That's cool. It's
97
expensive to patent things.
It is. So I guess that acting money helped out.
I don't know.
But he believes many of these patents will, of course, change the world. Some of his notable patents include advanced designs in metallurgy, I think I'm saying that right, chemical engineering, and innovations in flight technology. So at the very least, the man is doing things.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, but what really shook up the internet was some of his claims. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're just going to go through a few of them that this is kind of tough to talk about because he's talking about things that are beyond most people's comprehension.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of things that he said or a lot of words, even words that he used that are just not in common vocabulary. But I tried to pull together some synopses and just kind of put it in more lay terms, I guess.
Okay.
Some of them are just straight up. You can just tell, like,
let's see what Mr. Hustle and Flow's got.
I don't know if you saw this part of the podcast, but his first claim is that prenatal memories are real, which most people don't think are, but he debates it, and some other people have debated it. But he said he remembers being inside of his mother's womb. Don't make me laugh. He described detailed memories, such as seeing his hand in utero, and he said he remembers being circumcised as well.
I feel like that there's some truth to that, and without having ever studied it, just because it's one of the questions I ask a lot of people when I meet them and I want to break the ice. I ask people what their first memory is. It's just a curious thing because it feels like literally at some point our brain just started hit record. Like this is hitting record. It's all of a sudden like we were playing and nothing is, and all of a sudden something happens and boop, and now it's on, right? So for some people, it's a lot further back than one would think. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody that said like in utero, but super young breastfeeding, like they remember stuff like that. They remember this. So I don't know if with the 8 billion of us that there are, if some of us aren't capable of remembering that kind of stuff. I guess my question is like, okay, so then what does that mean? Is there something that leads to? Because that's what would interest me. If that means, oh, that means we can turn on the access point of the brain. Blah, blah. If that's not, if it's just something to talk about, then I'm like, okay, that's cool, I suppose.
Well, I don't think any of his stuff is just stuff to talk about. I think from the overall thing that I got, and then we go into more of his claims, but it's just what I thought was interesting was just the way he sees the world, especially as a creative. It's just a different. It's challenging what has always been like the norm, and just different ways of looking at things.
That's cool.
So at least on that one, you were kind of like, that's not too far fetched.
Not too
right?
far fetched.
Okay. This one is the next one is it might be a little bit beyond me, but again, I still kind of understand and relate. But his next claim is that the universe is built on waves and not particles. He says the fundamental building blocks of reality are not particles but waves. He says this perspective aligns with some interpretations of quantum physics, and his fascination seems likely to stem from the works of physicists like Niels Bohr and Erwin Schrödinger, something like that.
Sure.
So again, like he's not alone in this. He might be a minority, but people who deal with quantum physics feel like this could be true.
I was going to mention that there's something I've read about. It's almost like there's things that I acknowledge that are interesting to me that I wish I had like the mental capacity to process, because I don't think it's a bit above me. But I have read something about like this wave particle experiment where it proves the importance or the impact that watching something. It's a particle experiment. They shoot some kind of electron waves at a target, and depending on whether they record it or not with like a camera, the result is different. Now, how do they know that it's different if they didn't record it? I don't know what they're talking about, but it makes it seem like objectivity has an impact on the way the universe works in general. So I'm looking at you, one thing can happen. Or I guess that means that if I'm not looking at something, it could be doing something different than if I was looking at it, which again, what's the point? But that idea is like, I don't really get it. I don't really get it, but I'm like, that's an interesting idea. So waves and particles, would that make the universe? Again, my question would be cool. I'd honestly want to talk to him about it. Maybe just, stare at him while he talks. But what does that do for how we understand the world if that is true? If waves instead of particles are what created?
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit beyond me. But I feel like, I mean, it sounds like you're trying to get some practical use out of it. But it's just like, okay, the things that we know about gravity and aerodynamics and stuff like that, by learning that stuff, we can fly planes and helicopters and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And so there's some kind of use, I think, in saying it's waves and not particles. I don't fully know how to interpret all of this stuff and to make it like, oh, okay, we can do this now. But I'm sure like that's a kind of genius level,
sure, right,
kind of thing. Once you know it and then can do something with it.
Right. If it means I can surf to Mars, I'm down, bro. That'd be so sick.
Yeah, they'll just hit your knees with waves and not particles, and that'll heal them.
I'm down for that also. Does anyone out there have answers for knees? Your boy's going through it right now, so yeah, let us know.
To continue on this is probably it's probably the last one that just I kind of still didn't. It's too far above me.
Mm-hmm.
He said gravity is fake. So he said that there's an inward and outward force that shapes planets without relying on things like gravity and dark matter and dark energy. Which this one is kind of big because he challenges Newton and Einstein, like as far as gravity being a fundamental force. And it's I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I know I know what you're doing. It's fake. Fake news. Fake news. That did not fall. Okay, people. Okay, that did not fall. That was fake news. Gravity is fake. Okay. All right.
I'm not going to do it again. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. That is an interesting idea. If there's another force that's not gravity, then what is that? What is that inward force? Because to me, that inward force is what's called gravity. Is it not?
I don't know, man.
Good
I
for him.
don't,
You know. Okay.
I don't know, but I really want to understand. I really
Sure.
want
I mean,
to because there's stuff. Even like the one times one thing. Like I I don't know how I feel about it, but I can at least understand why he would say that. Um, once we get to that one, but the gravity is fake thing, it's just like over my head, I think.
yeah. No, I wouldn't even.
But when he talks about it inward and outward force for any anime nerds watching this, I thought about Pain in Naruto, and he has like that universal push and universal pull,
Yeah.
and
How cool like gravity?
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the answers are in Naruto. Maybe they believe the same thing. I don't know, man. This is just I just find it funny, obviously.
Yeah. Sure. It's interesting. I wouldn't know where to begin with that, but
just someone coming out of nowhere and just challenging everything and everyone like we've ever known. It's like you all are wrong. This gravity isn't real.
I mean, it helps me that I only think about him as the Hustle and Flow character.
Yeah, that adds another
what else
layer.
he's done. He's stuck in that role to me, so he can say all he wants, but he's saying this. I only saw a portion of that podcast, so I know what he talks like. To me, he's still talking like that character on the podcast. So,
Yeah, he definitely has that like typecast or like the his role in Avengers was like was it War Machine?
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he was like the first War Machine. It's like War Machine said there's no gravity.
For the record, I prefer Don Cheadle. The same.
I thought they're both good.
Oh, okay, well, so I don't remember Terrence, but okay.
Next one is that straight again, along with gravity not being real, also straight lines are not real, Jericho. And this is the one I kind of understand. All right, so this is his explanation. He said, when you view something from the correct perspective, or you view a straight line from the correct perspective, you'll see that it's not straight. So he gave an example that if you put like you draw a straight line, perfectly straight, at least to our human eyes, but if you put it under a microscope, you'll see all the tiny like inflections that don't make it look straight anymore. So basically, these are all conceptual things. He's basically trying to get us to rethink geometrical concepts. Again, why I don't know how that applies to
that. Yeah, that I would say. How does that help us? Terrence, how does this help us specifically? I don't think it does. Look straight to me. It works for me. I'm gonna accept. I'm gonna take into consideration two of his ideas, and then for me, gravity and straight lines are pretty much going hand in hand. I will go find a straight line and drop it to celebrate my acceptance of straight lines and gravity.
So we're 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see where he's coming from with the prenatal.
I like the idea of not him trying to be controversial, just saying, hey, think about stuff. We are told things from an early age, and most people, for everything they've been told, that's just how it is. And any idea that something might be different can be scary. It's like, oh, it's the truth. What is? But so I appreciate his effort. But
yeah, that's what I got out of it. All right, so we're 2 and 2, which is perfect because we're coming to the last one I have here, and that is that multiplication is a lie.
But I mean, does he say it exactly like that?
No, but that's just funny to say.
Okay.
Anyway, he said he said that one time. This is the number. He said that one time. One is two.
Okay.
So he said this is why, because
Uh-huh.
if you combine two unique things, all right, you can't end up with the same thing. Which I hear where he's coming from. You got one, like, because I remember like algebra, like you're always trying to solve for x, and you basically you got this side of the equation, this side of the equation, you try to balance it out. So if you have two ones on this side, like how are you going to have a one on this side and it still be the same thing? So like I still don't know if I agree with it, but I totally understand what he's trying to say.
I don't appreciate that one. Side of it. And I'll try to be. I haven't taken math class in 2 decades, but I'll try to explain. He said two unique. If you combine two unique things, to me, I'm like combining in my simple brain an object. This is a guitar pick with a concept, which is a number of these that I'm thinking about. Right. So if
Right.
I have one of these, this is my object, and I take a number that represents how many of these I could have. If I go times 2, I will then have 2 of these, right? Hey, look what happened. Now I have 2. If I take this one object and then I multiply it by a concept that is singular, nothing changes. Because here's the other thing. He's okay. I think I can bring a narrow to this also. I want to figure it out because usually there's like, or this might be Avatar. It's like, okay, there's like good or bad. So something has to be one or the other, positive or negative. And then there's a guru, the guru on the mountain that made him drink the banana onion juice. He said there's also a neutral. That's the third option, and people forget about that. So yeah, does this have to change if I multiply it? No. It could go bigger, it could go smaller, or it could stay the same. And the stay the same is the times 1. So that is my argument, Mr. Howard. I had like one of those chalkboards on the back I could draw on with all the numbers and everything. Yeah.
The hot to crazy chart. You remember that one guy?
Oh, nice. I appreciate that, man. So I don't agree with that at all.
National treasure. I don't think I do, but I want it to be a thing.
I got you.
That's deep down. I want 1 times 1 to be 2.
If enough people talk about it, it'll become something.
Yeah,
if enough people talk about it, it'll become something. I really don't think that it's important. Again, it's just like what? Look, they're ready to change math with that Common Core stuff.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's all messed up, but the kids nowadays are gonna be just so stupid. All the math is wrong. And so now they're going to throw this in there. Like, by the way, 1 times 1 is 1 or 2. And then what? Because no, okay, another thing. So if that becomes true, that's just hypothesize. Then wouldn't that change everything? Because you can't just change one thing without changing other things. If there's the fundamental concept that 1 times 1 was 1 and now 1 times 1 is 2, doesn't that somehow affect everything else?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
I don't want to really think about it. I just want to. I want someone else to figure it out and tell me on the internet. I'll just ask ChatGPT. But no, 1 times 1 is 1. Since forever and ever and always, one thing can stay one thing. I am 1 times 1. I should make that my counter. Make a shirt. I am 1 times 1, and I just stand boldly, holding a flag and like a bowl of rice pudding.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why the second thing.
All right, so that's 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
All right, so we might end up with a tie here because this is a bonus one.
Okay.
And this is probably of all these things, this is the coolest thing, at least one of the coolest things I think he said.
Okay.
Was just like kind of opened my mind a little bit. And he said that the periodic table is structured incorrectly. I mean, again, how is this useful? I don't know, but I thought the visual was very cool.
Okay.
And I should have tested this before I started, but
take chances. It's real life. Just take chances.
Let's see what happens. Okay, so check this out. This is the periodic table of elements. So basically, he said he learned the periodic table, but he saw it in a different way. He saw it in circles.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was super interesting because it's kind of hard to explain. He breaks it into octaves, which we can relate to as musicians. So you start with like one element, and it goes through the list of elements until it gets to another octave. And every element in these octaves, they follow a similar pattern. Like in the middle here, you start at helium, in the middle would be carbon, and then at the end would be neon. And then all of the beginnings and ends of these octaves, all of these elements relate to each other. They have like something in common, as well as all the elements in the middle of these octaves, which is crazy to think about because it's the same shape as music. And I kind of wish I would have learned the periodic table like this. In music, there's the, at least in Western music, you have like the 7-note, 8-note scale. I mean,
Sure.
you would go back to the primary note, but like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you start over A. But like key of C, right? Helium would be C, you D, E, F. Like where you get to carbon would be like fourth or fifth.
Uh-huh.
And then you go back up, sixth, seventh, eighth would be neon. It's crazy. I don't understand what he's saying, but I understand it from a musical perspective that all of these elements between helium and carbon are passing tones to where you get to carbon, which is like a perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and then nitrogen, oxygen, these are all passing tones until you get to neon. And all of these elements relate to each other based on their positioning here.
It kind of gives me vibes more of, or the way I'm trying to process my mind is more like the harmonic series.
Yeah.
Only in the sense that stuff's getting like kind of bigger as it goes higher or lower.
Yes, it's the same thing. I mean, it's and that's what he's trying to say. Basically, it's like everything is interconnected. And so he even gave these. This is getting like super nerdy, but every note has a like a measurement to it, basically a measurement of vibration that we measure in hertz. So, the 100 hertz, there's 400 hertz, there's 800 hertz. And so each one of these elements, like he gives a hertz number to it. And he says it's the same thing with colors. These are all they have a color associated, they have a sound associated to it, there's a vibration associated to it. And this is just like a visual representation to see like all this stuff is all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Music, color, light, element, everything around us is these octaves, these spirals, these circles. We just keep going in circles. So where like there's certain notes that go together in music and there's certain notes that don't. And the same thing happens here. There's certain elements, like if it's the first and the fifth or the first and the fourth, like they go together. But you have like tritones in here, the elements that like don't mix or, like oil and water kind of stuff. That was like pretty crazy to me. That just from a musical standpoint to see like, okay, this guy he just has a different way of looking at stuff, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've lost everyone on the podcast, let us know what you think. Unless you want to comment on that, Jericho.
I'm 2 and 4. I understand it, and I didn't like it at all. I don't know what to tell you. It's really weird. The second you put it up there, my brain went ugh. So, maybe if it looked, I think it's more of an aesthetic thing. For some reason, the way that looked specifically made me go, I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
I would have loved this in school because I can like it was just music, and then I get it. I didn't really like science.
Oh well, I never did. You have to learn the periodic table?
Yeah, we had to memorize it.
I don't think they cared that much in California because I think we kind of glossed over that. I remember we had to learn a couple, but not like the whole thing.
All right. Well, Let us know what you think. This has been another episode of the Life Circus podcast. Is Terrence Howard crazy or is he a genius? Is it somewhere in the middle? I forgot to talk about the beef. He has a beef with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I didn't bring that up, but it's the thing.
Oh, are they gonna do like a Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing?
Man, I
Come
love
on.
it. But I should have brought that up because he basically sounded stuff to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, "No." Basically.
I would trust Neil deGrasse Tyson more than Terrence Howard for sure.
So on the podcast, he said that Tyson attacked him by saying no, but it was probably the most polite diss track that could ever be put out because he just basically even complimented him in his, rebuttal of his theories or whatever. But
I'm sure he respects the fact that he's trying. I think that helps.
Yeah. He basically disagreed with everything, but he said like, yeah, this is cool. You have a certain level of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was very complimentary diss. So I don't know where he got the attack part from. But let us know what you think. Is he right? Is he wrong? Is this a cool way of thinking about stuff? Did you know all this stuff about Terrence Howard? 97 patents is crazy. Yeah, leave a comment. And
1 times 1 is me. Imagine. In a shirt.
Yeah, let's just go with that. 1 times 1 is me, or 2, depending on who you are. Bye.
They took our jobs! They took our jobs! Took our